Lord help us. I'm letting it go.
And they say, I hate white people. Shut the fuck up. White people, you have got a long way to go before you earn the right to say that. Got a long way to go. When you develop a technology, when you develop a civilization, when you develop something, maybe then you can have a little resentment. Until that point, be grateful. That's a real message. And white people need to wake up. It is racial. It is 150,000% racial.
I'm gonna let it finish, but like I said a couple clips ago, white people complaining because the Jews run their country. How do the Jews run your country if you're so talented and you're so smart and you're such fierce warriors? Answer this for me. How do the Asians run your country if you're so great? How did the people of color, how were they able to migrate back here? Who's behind these migration policies? People who are conspiracists are going to say the Jews. What about the white liberals, though? You can't blame the Jews for the white liberals. White people have their own minds. If they're so smart, they ought to be able to understand what the white conservatives are saying. So you can try to blame whatever you want to blame on the Jews. They got white people okaying and accepting the narratives and the agendas being pushed. And if white people are so fucking smart, they ought to be smart enough to see what the fuck is going on. So you still, no matter how you want to do this, guys, you're not going to be able to blame the Jews. You're not going to be able to blame the blacks. You're not going to be able to blame the Hispanics. You're still going to have to deal with your people, right? Y'all got a civil war between white folk where y'all can't fucking agree and y'all trying to fucking blame everybody else. See, I tell the fucking truth and niggas don't want to hear it, but I'll let Nick finish.
The colonists were European. They came from Europe. And people go, well, what's white anyway? Well, what does it mean to be white? European. The colonizers, the colonists, they came from one continent. The Chinese didn't colonize the world. India didn't colonize the world. Rwanda didn't colonize the world.
I think that's a good thing of Asian people that they only went to America because, you know, there weren't people there yet and they, you know, got over the Bering Strait. They walked over, right? So being a colonizer, I don't see why this is necessarily a good thing to Nick, right? It seems to me like when they colonized other people, they killed them off and slaughtered them. So if white people find it proud to know that they went off and killed other humans, I guess that's a good thing. I do understand that white people carried on Christianity, but Christianity already existed from the people in the Middle East. So it's not like white people invented the religion. They just kept the religion going. So again, white people colonized. If they think that's a good thing, great. A lot of other people see it as a negative thing because they were killing people off. So because they wrote the history, they called everyone else savages. But regardless, all the people back in the old days were savages. They were all Africans were killing Africans, whites were killing whites, Asians were killing Asians. So everybody was acting like savages. It's just that the whites won the war for the New World and they won the war in Africa. So they wrote it off as though the Native Americans and African Americans were savages. Now, what Nick doesn't talk about is how the white people tried to infiltrate Asia, East Asia, right? But because the white people aren't as intelligent as the East Asians, they weren't able to conquer the East Asians. They weren't able to enslave the East Asians. The East Asians did not even try to enslave the white peoples. So it just goes to tell you that though white people have made a lot of advances in society, they've also done negative things. And it's not that they try to, they do try to wipe out their negative things by just bringing up the good that they brought, not also expressing that, hey, there's some negative things that we have done as well. I'll let him finish.
World, Europe colonized the world. European empires colonized the world.
Colonized everything but East Asia. Because he's saying the world, they never colonized East Asia.
One after the other. Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, English, Italian, German. Europeans colonized the whole world. European.
In other words, Europeans went and slaughtered everybody. I'm just giving you guys commentary on what he's saying.
Developed places that were in literally prehistoric times. History means to have records. They had no records. They had no right.
Who invented standardized testing? Who invented gunpowder? Who invented the forms of math like geography, a quadratic equation. Those things weren't invented by white people. Some Africans, sub-Saharan Africans, some East Asians. So this thing of like white people brought everybody into the form of intelligence. There were floating gardens in America when the white people came. We still don't have floating gardens. So I'm not saying white people are dumber than other people. I actually think the Northern Europeans are the second most intelligent group behind the East Asians. But what I will say is that Nick Fuentes and these other white supremacists, these other white racists, they want to sit there and tell you all what white people did that was great. I give them their credit where their credit is due. But as smart as Nick is, I ain't never heard him talk about the things that sub-Saharan Africans have done for society. I ain't never heard him talk about the things that East Asians have done for society. Let me ask you guys something about Nick Fuentes since he's talking about getting in politics. If he's such a Christian, he's such a good guy, why doesn't he shed light on all the good things that everybody does? Why is it a nigga, a black person, the person that's sitting there, I'm getting hurled insults constantly on X, being called all these names. I do go back at white people, but I make sure to give everybody they just do. So y'all just tell me about the white talking heads that are giving everybody, well, I guess the white liberals do it. So I take that back. I'm not the only person who does the white liberals do it, but I dislike about Nick that he doesn't give everybody their flowers.
They had no advanced civilization.
I've already answered. Well, I'll let us finish off.
They weren't at the level of the Roman Empire or ancient Greece by the time we arrived. And it's only Europeans that will take pride in any of that. It's only Europeans that really can take a certain form of pride in those things. These other people that are practicing witchcraft or pagan religions, or they're secular, they're...
Christmas is not on the day Jesus was born. It's on the same day as a pagan religion. So just want people to know it's not just other people who are doing celebrating pagan holidays. But I stopped it because on another response, I said that there were many languages in Africa and West Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, and East Asia. What people really don't know about language is the East Asians and Africans have a different speech, or a different way they speak. They don't use the same symbols we use, and they don't use the same tones and the same speech patterns and pronunciations that Germans, because Germans are who is behind most of the English, right? So the Semitic and Hermetic languages are the things you see in like Italy, Spain, Africa before it was colonized, as well as Asia. It's just a different style of language. So if Nick really looked into this shit like everybody says he's so smart, I think he's smart, but people give him sometimes too much credit. If he would look into some of these things, he would say, oh, other cultures had languages, but by me not studying sub-Saharan African languages, by me studying East Asian languages, I didn't know that their languages are just based on something different than the Germanic WASP languages, right? So the stuff he's talking about with Greece and Spain and Italy, their language literally comes from the Semitic people, and Semitic people are the people that are like Egypt, Iraq, and stuff like that. So a lot of what white people have, they didn't create it themselves. Some of it they did, right? But some of it they got from the same people that Nick is talking down on, saying that they didn't even have language. So it's all just a whole bunch of bullshit with this guy. So I do like some of what he says, but I'm gonna stop saying we 50-50. Maybe like 10-20% of what he says is good. I mean, so I shouldn't do that to him because this is Clips again. Oh, I gotta watch it with him. Clips, he's a dumbass. Long interviews, he's a much more intelligent or well-spoken person. Man, it's like bipolar, Dr. Jekyll and Hyde when I watch this guy.
Leftist. These other people that are super proud of their indigenous ethnic heritage, they can't take pride in that. They're not happy about that. They're not happy about living under white people. They're not happy about living in a white country.
I don't live under white people. I clearly live under Jews.
And as soon as they get the chance, they will change that. That's what they're doing right now. All these people that are pouring across the border, they're not coming across the border.
Doesn't matter how many people come across the border, right? Because they got 200 million whites and the Jews still control everything. So if 100 million Hispanics come, that's not going to stop nothing with the Jews. The Jews can handle 200 million whites. The Jews will be able to handle 100 million Hispanics. I'm just using your logic with you, bro.
In order to thank us for creating all of this?
Thank you? You niggas, white folk need to thank black people. If it wasn't for Homo erectus, the sub-Saharan Africans who come from millions of years ago, if it wasn't for the East, both sets of people, hominins, whether it's Homo erectus or Homo sapien. They both come from East Africa, Ethiopia. But the ones with my hair moved over to sub-Saharan Africa, and then the ones in East Africa have the longer hair and the phenotypes like Nick. Both of those groups of people are black. So Nick talking about black people ought to thank whites. Everybody ought to thank everyone. I appreciate what white people have done, and even despite your racism and ignorance, I thank whites and appreciate whites for the innovation that they have brought. But see, when you get out of line, son, because you a son to me, the blacks were first. When you get out of line, we're going to have to teach you and reprimand you. So again, y'all should be thanking us for keeping humanity going before you guys even existed. Since we saying who should thank who, I should thank my parents more than my parents should thank me.
They're pouring across the border to take our stuff because their societies suck. Their children and children's children will grow up in our society, and they will hate that they are living in the ghetto. They will hate that they're living under white power. They'll hate that the history books are filled with white people. They'll hate that the white people live in a nice neighborhood and they live in a shitty one. They'll hate the looks they get. And as soon as they get the opportunity, they will change that this is a white country that celebrates white people. And if you are white, they will hate you. And they say, I hate white.
All I know is everything he's saying about white people, he must have meant Jews, because he's telling me that white people don't have power. They're being mistreated. The Jews have all the money. The Jews have all the high-tech jobs. The Jews create all the innovation. The Jews are running the world. So all of these things that he's saying, people hate whites. We can't hate white people. Jews are the ones doing everything good and bad. They're the ones in charge. So no one hates white people. It's Jews people hating. It's Jews that people want to be like, because it's the Jews who have everything that people want. Power, money, respect, influence. The Jews have all of that. So no one wants to be the average white person. We all want to be the wonderful, rich Jews. Oh, that was the end of that clip. You want me to do this last clip or you good? Okay, I'll do the last clip. I was surprised the producer said keep going, because he's been asking me not to talk. I mean, not to talk. He's been asking me to let the reactions play, but today it was just too much, guys.
I'm watching these people like, black people kill each other. It's 90%. You're going to find 85 to 90% for every racial demographic in this country. Because, oh, yeah, we live around.
Yeah, like,
niggas live around niggas. Asian people live around Asian people. White people live around white people.
The black homicide rate is 653% higher than the white murder rate, and 65% higher than the Hispanic murder rate. When comparing...
I'm stopping this because when people say this, I want everybody to follow. When they say it's 650 times higher, they're saying that black people murder at 6 times the rate of whites. So basically it's saying that it's 6 times more likely that a black person will commit murder than a white person. That is a problem, but I just wanted you to know it's 6 times because he's saying 650%. Also, the other guy was saying that, the first guy before he came in with his input, the other guy was saying that for all demographics, what you notice is blacks kill other blacks. Well, whites kill other whites, Hispanics kill other Hispanics, Asians kill other Asians, because that's how people live. People somewhat live segregated, so people are killing people in their vicinity, which is why I always tell people the violent whites are in rural America. They're not around everybody else, but the Hispanic and black people who are violent are around a multicultural environment. So that's what... Some of it is just because Hispanics and blacks are killing at a higher rate, but some of it is because in terms of opportunity, the blacks and Hispanics can murder a diverse group, whereas the rural whites can only murder other rural whites.
Homicides per 100,000, the current homicide rate for black Americans is 26.6%, which is 4 times higher than the national average and 7 times higher than their white counterparts. When it comes...
So he says 7, it depends on the year, guys. What I was going to say is, the black murder rate is, he said 26. I've also seen like 22, 20, 21, etc. So we'll say what 22, just because I'm about to bring up another stat. So the black murder rate is 22 per 100,000. Well, the suicide rate amongst white people is 3 times more than that of blacks, and the suicide rate amongst white people is 22 in every 100,000. So the same epidemic of black violence that we have white people killing themselves at that rate. And just to give people a comparison, as I said, whites are committing suicide at 3 times the rate of blacks. 8 out of every 100,000 blacks is committing suicide. So again, there's a huge problem. I'm only saying huge because that's what they say about the blacks. We're 3 times as violent as the whites, and they say it's a huge problem. So if whites are committing suicide at 3 times the rate of blacks, that's a huge problem in the white community. When is it going to be addressed? Also, when is Nick Fuentes going to address that? When is Elijah Schaefer going to address that? When is Tucker Carlson going to address that? When is Alex Jones going to address that? Let me take a second to breathe. There's one other. Well, I forgot my other point, but I'll let him finish.
To arrests for murder, African Americans outnumber white people. I know you might say,
but that difference is relatively small. It's only about a 200-person difference.
That's fine until you realize that white people outnumber black people 5-1, yet black people still manage to kill more people than white people. And I know one of your favorite things.
This is because me and him agree here. The black murder rate is off the charts, right? So I do think that if black people are murdering at 6 times the rate of whites, it's a problem. Even if they were murdering at 3 times the rate, it would be a problem, but it would at least be obviously 6 is better. 3 is lower than 6. So I do want black people to, maybe we can do this by moving out the violent blacks out of the inner cities and putting them in rural America. Or maybe we can do it by educating people on impulse control and just education as a whole so that they make better decisions. I do think that the critique that black people are being too violent and committing too many murders is true. That's why I say blacks murder off the chart, and we do need to address this. The only thing is we need to address it in a humane way and not stereotype black people as a whole based upon black murderers because it's a small percentage of people. And I let him finish because we've gone on for a good little while.
Things to bring up is how many white mass shooters exist. Look at the rate per 100,000. It's 0.09. For black mass shooters, when you look at the rate per 100,000, it's
0.09.
This means that black people commit mass shootings at the same rate as white people, even though...
What I will tell you is when black people, first off, mass murder, it ranges, right? So they're probably counting gang violence as mass murders because sometimes more than 2 people or 3 people are killed in a gang shootout. What I will say is that we watch television, and not just television, now we have social media. When you have people firing AK-47s and standing on balconies and hitting people with assault rifles, some black people do that. But the majority of the time that's Islamic people or white people committing the it's not just mass murder, but they're killing lots of innocent people at once. So it's not just about being a mass murder, it's how many people you're actually murdering in the event. It's basically like if you compare Africa going to war versus when Europe went to war. Africa has a lot of wars between countries, but what Europe did is they had 2 world wars and they killed over 100 million people. So though white people may not be committing violence as often as blacks, the devastation that they're causing is a lot. Same thing when you look at Ashkenazi Jews in Israel versus when you look at Gaza. Gaza goes and can take, killed, I guess, 200 people. Israel's killed 66,000. So even if Gaza attacks Israel more often than Israel attacks, if Gaza attacks Israel more often than Israel attacks Gaza, Israel's still doing a lot of devastation with their few attacks. So I still think you have to take that in consideration when we talk about mass murders and say, well, whites and blacks may commit mass murder at the same rate. Whites are still killing more people when they commit that act of violence.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, white people outnumber black people 5-1. Every time the numbers match, the rate is 5 times higher for black people than it is for white people. So yes, when people want to mention that there is a crime problem in the black community, the statistics...
There's a murder problem in the black community, and I think we need to say it that way because when you say crime, people don't understand that your stats are only for murder. They think it's for any type of assault. They think it's for any type of crime, and it's not all crimes. It's just specifically, obviously, the most important. Or not the most important, but the one people are most concerned with. Yes, it is murder, and that is a problem.
Not racism, back that up. And for someone such as yourself that is so critical of everything that white people do in this country, and even goes to the length to say that white supremacy is destroying this country, let's look into some numbers, shall we? From the year 1900 to 2023, the Ku Klux Klan was responsible for 3,700 black lynchings. In the year...
I'm just going to say I think that number's low. It's probably more.
Year 2023 alone, 12,000 black people were killed by other black people.
And in that same, I think he said 2023, in that same year, the amount of white people who killed other whites, if blacks were 12,000, the other 50 murders come from Hispanics and whites. So Hispanics do a little bit more murders than whites. I'm thinking the number probably would be like 4,000 to 6,000 for whites. So basically he's saying in 1 year, more blacks committed murder than lynchings that the KKK did. Also, in 1 year, more white people committed murder than the KKK did lynchings over the period of time he's saying. So it's the same, not exactly the same, but the same type of logic can be applied to both groups.
If white supremacy is such a problem in America, please tell me how black people kill 4 times the numbers the Klan killed in 100 years every single year.
Yeah, guys, I enjoyed doing the reactions. I know we went long. Thankfully, I got off a couple soliloquies, so they may not be in the actual reactions. But please let us know if you guys like when I kind of just talk about what I'm feeling at the moment, what comes to mind, and what's on my heart. Because I think that a lot of dialogue can be had there. Maybe it won't be a part of the show, but maybe if I share more of my opinions with you guys can be honest, open up with me, and let me know what you think. And that's what this show is supposed to be about, just honest dialogue. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. If you like this video, please smash the like button, comment, and subscribe. New shows airing Monday through Thursday.